Hey Silver Tubers, it's Mr. Zeke coming to you from the Silver Pouring Bench with a little bit of instructional video. What do you do when you're melting silver and you glance down into your crucible and you see that from the inside of your crucible while the furnace is hot and the silver is liquid? Well, the first thing you do is you do not panic. You remain calm. You simply turn the temperature down, let it cool, and you're gifted with a beautiful little disc in the bottom of your crucible. And you think, whew, man, I really dodged the bullet on that one. That could have been so much worse. Because the furnace is still running. And everything is well. And then, after it's all cooled off, and you take the insert out, if you have one of these Pro Melt Deluxes, you take the insert out and you look down inside, and on the very bottom, I'm going to give you a bird's eye view, on the very bottom down there, this piece right here of foam, it's essentially the same as the top, which is a piece of this fireproof foam, okay? And then you notice in the bottom a little bit of silver sticking up like this from the side, and you're like, oh, that can't be good. And then you notice there's a line of silver along the edge, and you go, that really can't be good. And that thermostat hole has a blob around it stuck to the thermostat, and you go, this might be a little worse than I thought, but the thing's still running. So you let it cool off, and then you call it a night and you walk away. And you come back the next day and you tear the entire furnace apart, and you discover that the silver that poured out of the side of the crucible pulled up over here, pulled up all around the thermostat, and pulled up here all the way around the side on the bottom side, dripped out. You can see how that's poking out, dripped out through the bottom of the leads for the coils in here, because down there's a hole, see that little hole, and ran down the back of the furnace. But long story short, about an hour at the dining room table with a Phillips head screwdriver and a little bit of patience, we got it out. Look at all that silver we would have lost. And this sits right back in there where it started. And the blob that was around the, I pulled out the backup furnace, fired it up. There she is, the one that I had to replace the thermostat in. And that's the original furnace that I had that I'd been using for the year. This is the new one, and it just so happens the crucible broke in the new one. The blob I actually just remelted. It was a bunch of little pieces. I had to take the thermostat apart, or the thermocoupler apart, and I just melted it into this just to get it back in a new crucible. So here in a bit I'm going to fire this thing up, make sure everything's working right. Disaster may have been averted. I appreciate everybody checking in on a Friday night. I hope everybody's doing well. And unfortunately, this is simply a failure of quality graphite. There was no predicting this. I know exactly when it happened. I already had some liquid silver in the bottom, and I dropped some bars in, some 1 ounce bars in, and I heard them hit. And that was my mistake. I needed to be a little bit more gentler. But this could have happened no matter what. There was no rhyme or reason to this. The piece that came out, it just broke out. It just flat broke out clean. It was just a bad crucible. There was no way to predict this failure. So I don't fault anybody. You know, it just is the way it is. I'm just glad that, you know, no one was injured in the making of this video. So Mr. Zeke coming to you from the Silver Pouring Bench. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I'm sure I'll talk to some of you this weekend. And in the meantime, cheers, everybody.